Hi everybody, it's Charles again with an entry for the 6th of May 2014. It was a Tuesday. Basically this video is going to be about, it's going to be another workplace thing. I've probably touched on this subject before, but there's something that I've noticed. I've worked in, obviously, I've worked in retail for a very long time, and I've worked with a lot of different people. Some people have been around for a while. Some people were only there for fucking, a short time. Um, but basically, it seems like one general thing that I've noticed is people cannot wait. They can't. They can't wait to consider themselves too good to do something. And like it just astounds me. Like, you know, when people first start, they're put up at the main register. And then as soon as they get, they're there for a little bit while, and they get, taken off of the register, if they're good enough, and they get, put on the floor to do other work, then they start thinking they're too good for register. And then, you ask a lot of them to cover breaks, and they're just, who, me? I got other stuff to do. I'm too busy, I got this shit to do. And it's just like, like, we're all working to the same goal here, like, fucking, I'd cover the register if I could, if I didn't have to get pages and stuff like that, I would be more than willing to cover breaks. I mean, as long as people understood that I was covering the breaks, Like, if people expect me to be able to do a certain job in a certain amount of time and cover the breaks, it's not feasible. So, I mean, if people understood that I was covering the breaks, like, if they were like, hey, why didn't you finish this? And I was like, hey, I had to cover 2 breaks, that's an hour of my time. Then they understood that, then I'd be fine covering breaks. I don't, as long as I get paid the same amount, I'm willing to do almost anything in the store. You know, I don't. For me, I don't have the idea that I'm better than, like, I'm too good for doing anything in that place. I understand that we're all working to the same goal. So sometimes I might have to, I might have to clean downstairs. Sometimes I might be upstairs cleaning up a spill. As long as we're all pulling the weight, then I don't care, what I get assigned to do. If if you know if everybody else is helping customers and there's a spill in the aisle, I'll gladly clean up that spill. I won't wait for somebody else to finish and then page somebody to clean the spill. That's stupid. That's just me thinking I'm better than everybody else and I'm above it. But I mean, if everybody else is talking and then, like, I'm running to get something for a customer and they're just sitting there, I will page them to clean up the spill. Because I'm not gonna slack off so that and make them work, but they're not gonna slack off and make me work. You know what I'm saying? So then again, if we're both busy, you know, I will gauge the situation. Like, if I'm busy with a major seasonal aisle change and they're busy, banging out a passport photo, I will wait till they're finished and then ask them to clean up you know, the spill. But then again, if the situation is reversed, I will clean up the spill. It's whoever's project is bigger, longer, and more, it has a bigger impact for the store. I'm not going to clean it up just to say, hey, I cleaned it up. I'm going to do my best to make the managerial decision of who should clean up the spill. I mean, granted, a lot of the time I'll just clean it up because it's easier for me to just freaking clean it up than to go chase down somebody and make sure that they do it and then make sure that they put up a little wet floor sign. So if it's a small enough spill, I'll just do it myself. That kind of makes me a little bit of like it kind of makes people think that, like, I don't trust anybody to do it correctly. But it's like the time that would be spent getting somebody else to do it would just be better spent for me just to do it. But then again, sometimes I will go out of my way and try and track down somebody just because I want to teach them, I want to teach them that, self-reliance. I want to teach them that, you see a spill, you clean it up. Like, wait around for, see who else is going to do it, see if maybe, you can get somebody else to do it. You need to be able to see that spill and you need to be able to clean that up quickly. Like, I want you to fucking see that spill, make the decision, and go after it yourself. I don't want any, like, I want it to be gut reaction that you clean up that spill when you see it. Like, there have been many situations where I've had people, this wasn't the time when I was, a supervisor. It was the time where I was just a regular employee. And there have been many times where people were stepping around the spill for, a good solid half an hour to an hour, just waiting for somebody else to clean it up. And it was just freaking stupid. It's just like, what, am I the only person who can clean up a spill? I mean, I don't understand that stuff. And for me, if I ever did that, I would be ashamed of myself, I would legitimately be ashamed of myself to think that, like, I am better to clean up a spill. I am better than cleaning up a spill. I mean, no matter what, it's like, even if I'm not managing the store at that moment, it's still my store. It's, if I'm not in the middle of something, I will, I'll do it. Like, today I was building the seasonal aisle, and so of course when you're building the seasonal aisle, you're in the middle of the store, and you're in the middle of the store, you're in the middle of the front of the store. So every time somebody walks by you, they see you, and no matter what you're doing, they ask you for shit. I mean, I'm, 40 boxes in like a circle around me, kneeling down, arm deep in a box. I'm all dirty, like face is sweaty, hair is in disarray. And people were just like, hey, can you let me into the bathroom? Where's this? Where's that? Where's this? And then, like, 5 feet away, there's like 3 other employees. And it's just like, don't you see me just like, in the midst of this? Why are you asking me? But it's just like, it's whoever they see first. So, I mean, I could, in a situation like that, I kind of feel like, I'm doing something major, like I could like push all my boxes aside, step around, then just to go let them into the bathroom. Or, I could just try and grab somebody else. I mean, if it's a bathroom call, I'll go do it myself, because me having to find somebody else, it would just take as long as me to let them into the bathroom. But, if it's something like a photo call, I might page a photo person, just because I don't want to, number one, I don't want to lose the time answering every photo call that I could be using to put forth doing the major project. Number two, and this is a pet peeve of mine, as soon as you leave a major project unguarded, people flock to that fucking section. They straight up flock to it. There have been numerous times where I've been in the midst of like a major like reset or revision to an aisle, and I've got products like on the floor or in freaking tables all around me, and I'll step away to let somebody in the bathroom, and I'll come in, and the next thing I know, somebody's arm deep in my product, just pushing the shit aside, just freaking reaching in there, just trying to get at like one toothbrush, and just like stepping on the shit like they don't know it's there, scuffing all over the floor. It's like they do it intentionally just to mess up your work. And it just seems like the second you look away, somebody's in there and somebody's screwing it up. I mean, granted, that's what, some people, when they shop, they're a little bit messy. They push things to the side, they're dropping shit and stuff like that. But I mean, it just seems like, whenever I go to a store and I see like an aisle being worked on, first off, I won't go down it unless unless there's something down the aisle that I want to see or that I know I want to look at. And then I will, I'll approach cautiously. I'll try and look at the products from a little bit far so I don't mess up what they're doing. And if I have to get something from there, or if I do want to see something, I'll reach there and make sure I don't knock anything over. And if I do, I'll put it back. Some people just come shuffling in, like freaking, kicking shit aside. And it's like they consider it their, it's their right to knock shit around and just to like, just to declare dominance that they're the customer and you're the employee and you have to be submissive to them. And, there have been many instances where I'm almost like, don't you see this shit? But fucking, most of the time, they're in and out before I've even noticed that they're in. But I've had some people, you got boxes all around, you you've got products on the floor and stuff like that, and you're doing a major, you know, maintenance or clean job or something like that, and people just come rearing in with the cart, just like it's like they're like they're on the highway, and they, you know, like they're driving down the street and they lost control of their car, and just like the boxes are just pedestrians and they're just knocking people out of the way, just knocking people over. There have been times where I'm just like what are you doing? Like, you know, like the boxes are kind of there and you can't really like knock them. Like, you can't just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Because you have to approach it with tact. But there have just been, you know, like sometimes where people just, you know, they go above and beyond to make themselves a nuisance. You know, I understand that, you know, if you do block a section and people need something in that aisle, you know, they're going to want to buy it. I understand that shit. But I don't understand why people have to be as much of a nuisance as they can. It's just like they want to declare, like I said, they want to declare their right to, you know, be the customer, and, you know, this is, I'm shopping here and I want this stuff, and, you know, you need to get out of the way of me and shit like that. It's just like, you know, I'm trying to make, you know, I'm trying to put out the new products, or I'm trying to make this a better shopping experience for you. And you're just, you know, you're just trying to, you know, take a shit on what I'm doing. And it's just like, if this were something, if this were happening, you know, I know the circumstances wouldn't be the same, but if this were a situation and we were on equal footing, I would not hit them, but there would be some words given. There would most definitely be some words given. Probably enough words to get them to hit me, because I wouldn't stand for that shit. I mean, I have to stand for it because, you know, if I say the wrong thing, they're gonna fucking, you know, piss and moan, oh my god, I'm the customer, you know, he was in the way. And the next thing you know, they'll be crying on freaking, you know, they'll be crying to the store manager, to the district office. They'll probably try and get 60 Minutes to listen to how rough the shopping experience was at freaking Walgreens, you know, how brutalized they were at the store. And it's just like, you know, people want to, it seems like customers these days, they just want to, you know, they want that quick little, like, they want, like, the hat to drop, and then all of a sudden they're crying, you know, oh my god, I'm a victim, you know, all I wanted to do was buy some diapers for my baby. It was, you know, all of a sudden the baby's sick, oh my baby was sick, she was suffering, all I wanted was some diapers and some food, and then he was just a nuisance, and he, you know, verbally assaulted me. So that, to bring it back to my original point, is why I don't like to leave my aisle when I'm in the middle of a major reset. Because people just, they set up shop and they knock all your stuff around, and they don't give a rat's ass about your fucking what they can plainly see that you're in the middle of. There have been numerous times where, you know, people will ask me a question, you know, so I know that they actually see me in the middle of something, and then I'll like tell them what aisle it is, and then I'll leave, you know, to let somebody in the bathroom or to go get something, and then I'll come back and they'll be, you know, stepping on all the stuff that's on the floor, and then I'm just like, I'm looking at them, and they look at me, and they're just like, oh, I didn't see it, and I'm like, you know, you just asked me a freaking question, like fucking, you know, a minute ago, and you saw that I was in the middle of the shit, so that fucking excuse doesn't fly. That's just total disregard for, you know, the products, is total disregard for, you know, my work, and it's total disregard for the store. And that, you know, that they'll get away with that because they're the customer, and, you know, corporate wants to do everything that freaking they can. They want to bend over backwards for them. But in any other, like, real life situation, you know, that shit wouldn't fly. And I think they know that shit wouldn't fly, and I don't think they try and pull that bullshit in, you know, a different, you know, life situation. But people, like I've expressed in a different video, people understand now that, you know, they've kind of got the retail people by the short hairs a little bit. And, you know, some people are decent. Actually, a lot of people are decent, you know, I'm not going to say that. A lot of people are decent, but, you know, before I started, I didn't know how many assholes there were in the world. But then at retail, you get to see how many assholes there are in the world, and you get to see that shit firsthand. And you have to fucking deal with it. So, you know, before you work retail, you see some asshole on the street and you're just like, that dude's an asshole. And then you freaking go on your little way to wherever you're going. But now when you work retail and you see that dude's an asshole, next thing you know, that dude's coming into your shop and he's freaking, you know, in your face about questions or some shit like that and just making a big deal out of fucking nothing. He's trying to throw his weight around. But yeah, so, but I mean, that's why I don't like to, I don't, if I have a major project, I like to do it, you know, continuously because I don't want to give people the chance to break it up or to like insert themselves so that I have to, you know, move around them or so that they mess it up. And, you know, if somebody else is doing a major project, I will do my best to give them the same courtesy, you know. So if somebody's doing a reset in cosmetics and they have to, you know, if there's a big line and they have to open up the register, I will legit go over there and I will open the register for them, you know, because I understand that they have a big project to do. Um, you know, so I just expect the same, you know, courtesy. But but back to, you know, back to the initial topic, I don't understand why people, you know, like there are people that won't cover a section just because they think they're too good for it, or they won't, you know, clean up a spill because they think they're too good, or who won't, you know, throw away trash because they think they're too good for it. And I don't understand that shit. You know, it's like, I mean, I could understand if you came from like the corporate office and you had your big ass suit on or something, you had your fucking expensive suit on, and you didn't want to get that shit dirty or something. But I don't understand how you work in the same store as I do. Some of these people even have lower positions than I do or equal positions, and they believe they're too good for it. And it's just like, you know, I don't understand where you got the holier than thou, you know, feeling or the holier than thou, you know, idea. I mean, we're all working to the same goal of keeping the store open and making, you know, as many sales and as much of a profit as we can. So it's just like, I don't understand what you think you're doing to help the store along that is so, you know, so much better than what anybody else could do. I mean, granted, there are employees that are better than other employees. I mean, some people, you know, they belong on the register all the time, and you know it, and they probably know it, and they just fight it. And so, you know, and then there are other people who, you know, who really, you know, work hard and who really get it, you know, and they deserve to be on the floor. So, I mean, when I do have to pick somebody for breaks, I will obviously pick what I consider, you know, the person more suited to going on the register. Not saying that they're better, but actually the person who is worse at the floor stuff. Then again, you know, a lot of the new people are worse at the floor stuff because they are newer. And so I also try and factor that into the, you know, the call of who goes on the register. You know, unfortunately, a lot of the time it is a new person just because, you know, they're kind of useless on the floor unless they're working directly with somebody. You know, if they're just trying to solo it, you know, they're kind of wandering around. They don't know where stuff is. You know, they're asking other people for questions. So it's just like, why do we have that extra person who's just going to walk over to cosmetics and ask the cosmetician where that is too, where item is? So why do we have that person around on the floor if they're not directly working with somebody? I mean, they have to get it eventually, but you know, when they work with somebody, they'll get it, and they'll get it eventually. You know, just working in the store. But yeah, I mean, that kind of like too good for the shit. That stuff doesn't fly, you know. And freaking, if I'm ever in a position of leadership or management, like true management, I hope, you know, I can drum that idea out of my employees. You know, obviously I'm a shift supervisor now, which is pretty much fucking meaning, you know, I get all the responsibility of closing the store down and covering shifts, but I get none of the authority and I get none of the pay. so. So, I mean, I do try and, you know, I do try and teach my people, you know, like I said, I do try and teach them, you know, to clean up the spills and to handle, you know, the business on their own without having to, like, without, you know, waiting around or something. Like, thankfully that like 30 minutes walking around a spill thing hasn't occurred, very recently, because I feel like, the team, the supervisors and the managers are now doing a better job of, kind of like diverting that and like stopping that kind of behavior. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was like, I remember this one time there was a spill and right in front of the cooler, and I was busy doing something, and then so I didn't even notice it, and then like an hour later I walked by the cooler to go to the office, and then you could see footprints in it. It had like kind of congealed on the floor. It was sticky. You could see that employees and everybody else. I like legit saw a couple employees just walk around it, and there was glass on the floor too, and it was just like, Jesus Christ, like how long are you gonna freaking, and what lengths are you gonna go to not have to get your hands dirty and not have to actually do some like legit hard work. I mean, cleaning up a spill is not really hard work, but it's not like, it's not the most, I don't know how to explain it really, the most like upper class of activities, on your hands and knees or with the mop cleaning that shit up. you know it's not the most glamorous of activities. And I guess either A, people don't want to get dirty because they don't want to get like legit dirty, or people don't want the customers to see them getting dirty like that. And that's, people not wanting to get dirty, that's just them being arrogant and thinking that they're, too good. Unless they legit don't want to get physically dirty, meaning that they don't want to get like, they don't want to stay in their pants or something like that. In which case, they're dressed too well for, for the work that we're supposed to be doing. Like, I never spend more than $20 on a pair of pants for work, because I know as soon as I dropped, those $40, $50 for that nice, really nice ass pair of pants, I'm gonna get something on. You know, there have been numerous pairs of pants that I've had to retire due to holes and due to spills and shit like that, just because I've gotten many many bleach spills on pants, and just like just rips on the belt and rips by shelves and stuff like that. And so you never spend that much money on pants or clothing, because it's just gonna rip, or it's gonna rip, or it's gonna get stained. So I don't spend over $20 on work pants. Um, in work shirts, no, I won't spend more than work shirts. I'm trying to get for 15 or lower. I mean, now they've got me wearing the dress shirt and the tie, so 15 or lower is what I go for on the dress shirt. The ties were provided, so they gave me two ties and they gave me the little vest. So I just wash those sporadically. But yeah, I mean, before I had the polo, which I loved, and the polo, it was like this giant apron slash smock. You just you wear your shirt underneath it, and then you just throw it on over it, and you're just like, come at me, bro, with like all the boxes and the spills and everything, and then it just absorbs it. And eventually, your shirt, if you go at it strong enough, your shirt just starts looking like a painter's smock, because you got all these different, you got like bleach here, you got like freaking, like tomato sauce down here, and then you got like you got like freaking, like a rip from a shelf up top here in the shoulder, and it's just like becomes like a patchwork quilt of work disasters. Um, but yeah, I mean, I used to like the polo because that's what it was, and it was always kind of moderately, well balanced. It was kind of cool in the summer, but a little bit warm in the winter because it was kind of thick. So it was a nice one. But now that they got me wearing the monkey suit, like I said, the dress shirt and the tie, you know, I miss the polo. I miss, you know, flexibility and, you know, the versatility of the polo shirt, you know. I'm constantly now rolling up my sleeves because even when I try and, you know, roll them up and shit like that, they still seem to fall down. So I'm always going like this and trying to put them up. And if I, you know, if I leave them buttoned down, you know, it's uncomfortable and my arms are too hot and stuff like that. So I don't like the little the tie and stuff like that. I mean, thankfully, I thought the tie would swing a lot more. You know, like a hangman's noose that you're just trying to like, you know, like you just broke up. You were getting like hung, but it just broke off of the tree, and now you got like this big thing trailing and like hanging around your neck. But thankfully, when you button it up, you know, it stays inside of the little vest pretty well, which I'm thankful for. Because yeah, I mean, I do a lot of carrying of stuff, and you know, you hold it in your hands like this in front of your chest, and the last thing you need is some kind of like tie just slapping you in the face every time you walk and shit like that. I mean, it still does that on occasion, which gets me angry. So, but I mean, it's better than I thought it would be. Like I held out on wearing the shirt and tie for as long as I could, but now they got me for it, so now I had to do it. But yeah, I mean, that's to me wearing your best, you know, and not wanting to get dirty. It's just like it's stupid. You know, not wanting to get, you know, your clothes dirty is stupid. But I mean, I can see if there was some kind of like special sale day or something where, you know, you had to dress your best in order to like put forth a good, you know, a professional customer image or something like that, customer image or something like that. Then that's one thing. But you know, just in your daily work day, you know, wearing, you know, $60, you know, dress pants or something like that, I think is just stupid. You know, you're just asking to rip your pants, and you're just asking to, you know, get spills on them or something like that. Um, that being said, you know, I've seen some of the worst dressed people at that place, you know, seen ripped up sweats, you know, flip flops, you know, open toed shoes, and it's just like, you know, you know, you're gonna be running around and shit, right? Like that, right? You know, like I mean, sweatpants, I think is just straight comfort. You know, it's just like, you know, I just don't feel like fucking, you know, wearing legit pants today. You know, and then open toed shoes, I think it's just like, you know, an attempt at just like, you know, like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna work too hard today. You know, I'll just wear some freaking lazy slash comfortable shoes, and then I just won't run around too much today. And I think that's what people try and get away with. And you know, some days they might get away with it, and you know, I think that a lot of days they won't get away with it. Not in the fact that somebody will say something, but in the fact that, you know, it'll be a pain for them because people are still going to expect them to carry their own weight with uncomfortable shoes. But yeah, I mean, back to the topic at hand. If you think you're too good to do pretty much anything, you know, at a store level and you work in the store, you know, that's pretty stupid. You know, I've dealt with managers who would, you know, pass off returns and, you know, who would just like give you their password and their codes so that you could do the return for the customer, and they'd sit in the office the whole time just because they wouldn't want to interact with the customer because they thought they were too good for it. You know, that shit was just stupid. I mean, there have been times where I've had to, you know, I've been the only one out on the floor. Me and this is when I was working as a photo specialist. It would just be me and then the person at the front register, and then we'd be the only two out on the floor, and we'd be getting slammed because the manager would just sit in the office and they wouldn't want to make an appearance because they wouldn't want to be like, you know, perceived as working, you know, down in like the store level and getting their hands dirty. And that shit was just stupid, you know. If I had been, you know, from the corporate office and I had seen that shit, that would have been, you know, I would have said something. But obviously, you know, people get away with what they can get away with. And I'm not at a level of, you know, power, so I just have to, I deal with the situations that I can deal with, you know, and I train my people as well as I can, you know, with my limited authority. just to, be self-sufficient, Oh, I had some really good managers who trained me, the way that I feel like I'm trying to train other people. Some people were just like, just do your job, do it the best you can, and they, why did you clean up that spill, who are you waiting for to help them, that just that kind of shit. But I've gotten, it's hard to say, but I think my fellow employees of the same level, before I was a shift lead, trained me better than any manager did. Because when you see a fellow employee going above and beyond, or pulling, as much weight as they can, working as hard as they can, that kind of gets you to step up your game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you see, like, my God, like fucking, look at her, like trying to cover 2 sections, running around, shit like that, or look at that dude, trying to take in that truck by himself, and then fucking, like maybe, why can't I do that? Why am I not doing that? Like, why am I not trying to put forth that, or why am I not putting forth that much effort, in order to be that good at my job? What's stopping me from doing that? So I mean, that seeing that kind of shit is what really, spurred, or at least it's what really spurred me to get my, to get my shit going, to get started, rather than, just some manager going like, you should do that, why don't you do that? Because then you're just like, who's this asshole fucking, he's just a little bit higher than me and he's fucking, on my ass all the time, and you start to lose respect for them, because then all they do is tell you what to do, and then you just like fucking, every time he goes in the office, you just like, fucking look at that cat in the office just fucking riding me. So it's just like, that's why I get along with the lower level employees so much better than I do with the upper level people. Because the upper level people, they just want to tell the lower level people what to do, and then they want to be the people that are, they feel like they're designated to make the big decisions, and they want to, they just want to ride around with the authority and be big timers, whereas, people on the ground floor are just trying to get the shit done, they're just trying to make it work, and, they're just trying to, keep it all together and all from falling apart, that's why I think I get along, with them better than I do the higher ups. I mean, plus the higher ups, a lot of it's political, you got to cozy up to this person in order to get, the higher position, or you got to freaking, cozy up to that person to get, into this group, and then maybe if they like you, then you get the higher position. I don't do well at those political games. So, I mean, I do my best to, get along with the people who are just, who are on the entry level, or who are just, starting out. And I just hope that eventually maybe that'll, it hasn't really so far, but, I hope that it'll, be what works for me. I mean, I feel like it's what's worked for me so far, personality-wise, because it shaped me into the person that I am. And, granted, I do have my faults, but I mean, I think I'm a pretty decent guy, I mean, I work hard, and a lot of my work ethic has been developed, looking at my fellow employees, and desiring to be like the people that I perceive as hard workers, who always give it their all and stuff like, and shit like that. Those people have helped shape me. I mean, so I'm hoping that I've taken the best of what I've seen in other people, like that show Third Watch that I was talking to you about yesterday. There are these 2 police officers. One's very, like aggressive. One's very, like motivated and like, high strung and very tense. And then the other one's kind of laid back, but he's lazy. And so then one of the other police officers asked, another police officer, like, like, how do you figure out which police officer, like what type of police officer you want to be? So she was like, you take a little bit from, type A, the high aggressive, the like aggressive and, quick one, and then you take a little bit of B from, the slow and the lazy one, and then you add a bunch of yourself in. And so, maybe it's 25% A, 25% B, and 50% you, And that's how you determine, what kind of a cop, well, in that instance, what kind of a police officer you are, but in my instance, what kind of a person or a worker you are, or a retail worker you are. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's how you determine, who you want to be in pretty much every instance. You find characteristics from people that you enjoy or that you like and that you perceive as good, and you try and, mix them into your own in order to, gain those abilities and those characteristics. So like, my mother had a great work ethic, but she was very high strung, or she's very high strung. So, I like the work ethic, but I don't like the fact that, I don't want to be high strung. Whereas my father, maybe not the best work ethic, but, very, very like laid back, very intelligent, very social. And those are aspects, the intelligence and the laid backness I think I have. Well, the intelligence at least somewhat, but I'm trying, a lot to work on the socialness that he had. And that's partially why I'm doing this, but maybe I'll get into that a different day. But, so those are his characteristics that I like, or that I try and, bring into my own personality. So, I mean, that's pretty much how you determine, what type of a person or what type of, a worker or whatever you're going to be. But, so yeah, I mean, for me, I think I've taken a lot more, like I said, I've taken a lot more from, on the ground workers, ground floor workers than I have from the higher ups. And so maybe that's why, somebody comes at me with like some big sales talk, and then like, we've got to increase these profits, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and then in my mind, I'm just like, let's go, buddy. I got 2 trucks backed up. I got to get these boxes moving, or I got to do this reset, or I got to reset this aisle, or something like that. I mean, I've always considered myself, well, at least before I got sick, the guy who worried about the physicalness. People, I've never been a part of the numbers group, like, how we doing in the gross profit in this area, how we doing in gross profit in that. I've been more, we got 20 cases of this, what are we going to do with it, how am I going to move, this 1,000 pounds of, rock salt, and how am I going to get it on the shelf in order for people to buy it. I've been more, the actual physical work in trying to, manage the efficiency in the doing of that, rather than trying to, figure out, which location and end stand I'll do best in, because unfortunately, I don't have that kind of time, and I don't have that kind of not responsibility, but I don't have that kind of, access to the numbers. I can't get in a lengthy conversation with store managers about, in your store, how did this work over here? In your store, how did, just because, they're just going to be like, dude, who the fuck are you? I'm going to come up with my little howdy-doody face, just come waddling up, and they're just going to be, get out of here, dude. So maybe if fucking, I have more of a, if I ever become a, legit store manager, then maybe I'll worry about the numbers more. But, as a shift lead now, all I'm worried about is, getting the job done, getting the work done as best, but also as quickest as possible. And so, that's partially why I don't do well with people that, put themselves above others, or that, slack, or any of that kind of shit. I don't take that very well. And, if I have the power to, stop it, I will. But I mean, unfortunately, like I said, I'm not that high up in my store, so a lot of times I don't. But I mean, in my eyes, it's not, it's a personal thing. Like I don't, I could probably get away with that shit more, more than I could probably get away with it somewhat. I could, I'm busy doing this, I'm busy with the money, yada, yada. And so I could probably, pull some of that shit. Oh my God, you clean that up. I'm busy doing this, so you do that ground level work. And it's just like, that's not my personality, and that's not, the personality of somebody that works hard or somebody that's decent. Granted, if I'm too busy to do it, then I'm too busy to do it. But I'm not just gonna fucking say that shit just because I want to be, I want to be the big man on campus, and I want to put myself above that shit. That's my personality. It's freaking stupid to think you're too good for anything. I remember, reading this book. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before in a previous video, but it was about, it was about a serial killer, but there was this part in it with this little boy who was just like, this little boy, he had a grandfather who was this like big, rich and powerful bank like president. And then he was like, one time he got sick and he threw up, and then he was like, I was amazed. He was looking back on it when he was older. He was like, I was amazed, I was a little boy in here, his grandfather, this big, powerful bank president, was on his hands and knees cleaning up the vomit of this little boy. And he was just like, that was a very big moment for me because, my grandfather got down on his hands and knees, even though he was very important and very powerful. And, he did that for the little boy, and he wasn't mad at the little boy, It was just like, that's the way I try. That's something that's always in the back of my head, like, you're never too good to, get yourself dirty or to do something, for others, or to do something, that pushes us towards the goal. That being said, like if I'm like the CEO, I'm not going to come down here and wash windows or something like that because I might be too busy. But I mean, if I got some extra time and freaking, nobody else is able to, clean the windows, and I'm capable of cleaning the windows, I will clean the windows. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to leave that for the little people, I'll leave that for, somebody else. I'm not going to do that shit because that shit is stupid. Putting yourself above others in any situation is just stupid. I mean, I'm not worried about the image that I portray to others. Like, I mean, granted, unfortunately, if somebody sees me, cleaning up on my hands and knees, cleaning the spills off of the floor, in their mind, they might think, look at him, he's uneducated, he's cleaning the spill off on the floor, he must not be very smart. It's like if you work in a fast food place, people automatically think uneducated, stupid, maybe didn't go to, probably didn't go to college, maybe didn't even graduate high school. Whereas I know that that's a lot of that time, that's not the case. So, I mean, I think I don't identify people by what they do. I do identify people by how they do it. So so if somebody works at, Burger King or Target, I don't automatically think that they're stupid or that they're uneducated. But if somebody works at Burger King or Target and, they're sitting around, they're lazy, they're not doing their job, I will think, that's a lazy person. I won't think that they're stupid or uneducated just because they work at, Target or Burger King, but I will think that they're lazy because they're not, putting forth any effort at their job. So I won't judge you on, where you work, because I know the job market is tough. Or maybe you're new to the country and you're trying to pick up the language, which a lot of people do at the stores that I work at, or the store that I work at. But I mean, if you half-ass it and shit like that, then I'm going to notice that shit. And I'm not going to, think highly of you because you're half-assing it. Granted, a lot of times people who work in retail have other jobs, maybe even a third job. So you can't really, I don't really judge somebody unless I know them. Like, there have been people that I've known who just, sit at the front register and then they just like walk around, and then, half the time you have to cover the front register too because they disappear, they just go to the bathroom, they go to the break room, they go freaking, walk down the aisles, and then the customers come up and go, hey, can you ring me out? Nobody's over here. and then you got to do it. And those people, I don't have respect for. But there are people who who have two jobs and they're bone tired, and they're they're struggling lifting a lot of stuff, and those people I'm just like, I know this person's already worked like 9 hours at some other gig, so I'm gonna have more sympathy for them than I am for somebody who's just straight up lazy. But I mean, it's all about personality. So if I know somebody's personality and I know that they're trying to pull that I'm better than this shit, then fucking that's not going to sit well with me. But if maybe they're too tired to do it, or they're or they've got some other reason, like they hurt their back recently or something like that, then I'm going to give them more slack. But that too good shit just does not sit well with me, and I'm hoping it never becomes a part of my personality. I mean, I fight against it a lot of the time. I mean, a lot of the time, I'm not saying this to garner any sympathy, but a lot of the time, doing some of that physical work legit hurts me. Like fucking 3 or 4 days ago, for some reason, my lower back was killing me, and so a lot of the physical work was just hurting, like really hurting. And thankfully, it's gone away, and I've gotten better. But I wasn't able to do as much, and if somebody comes at me with something like that, I'm more, I'll be sympathetic. Don't lift anything heavy. Watch how you're bending, yada yada. I'll help you out as much as I can. Just page me, or just call me, or whatever, and I'll be more sympathetic, because I know that shit happens. And I know that you're not going to be able to do your best or do the most if you're in that situation, if you've got that kind of an injury. But just that kind of an injury, that's a whole nother ball game than just you being an arrogant son of a bitch or an arrogant bitch, and then fucking. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like that notion should extend to every part of your life. Never think you're better than anybody else. You walk into a store, and somebody's having trouble figuring something out. Don't be a dick about it. There have been instances where people, you give them something. Like, I've been in numerous situations where I've been behind somebody in line, and somebody gives them a weird, like, change combination because they don't want any, like, small coins. And then it takes the person a little while at the front to figure it out. And then you can see the person who gave them the coins kind of, like, get a little impatient, kind of giving the heavy, like, giving, like, the head back kind of thing. And it's just like, dude, fucking give them time to figure it out. Like, fucking maybe, I've dealt with situations like that where people give you some weird-ass change shit. And a lot of times they don't even fucking count it correctly themselves. So they're wrong. So I'm trying to figure out, like, do they fucking, they give me this weird change. Do they want 2 nickels and 4 pennies? Do they want fucking, are they trying to skip me on a penny in order to get a dime? So it takes you a little while to figure that shit out. Like, fucking, so give them some fucking time, dude. Don't fucking be a douchebag, What, just because you can figure out, what exactly you want, or fucking, if 2 nickels or something like that, just because you can figure it out, a little bit quicker, then that makes you fucking a genius? Go fuck yourself with that shit, dude. Don't fucking huff and puff your way, What are you, fucking the big bad wolf? You go take that shit and get the fuck out of here. Dude, don't ever fucking think you're better than anybody else. I mean, I don't care what that dude's doing. I don't care if that dude's picking up your trash. I don't care if that dude's fucking serving you burgers or something like that. You're not better than that. You're not better than those people. So fucking don't ever think you are. That's just fucking, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to them, but it's also disrespectful to you. Because they're, if there's any inkling that they're, a harder worker than you, or, if they have any characteristic that's better than yours, then you're just freaking, you're not seeing it, and you're an idiot for not seeing it. Freaking, you could say, Albert Einstein worked in the patent office, yada yada, so you can't judge people because, he's a super smart guy, worked at a menial job, yada yada, but that's just fucking, that's stupid. Well, it's not stupid because it does obviously happen, and it is something that you should be aware of. But, you know, even if the dude who's serving you burgers is stupid, you know, respect him, give him time, you know. Anybody working a full job and making their way in life is fucking, it's an honorable person. It's fucking, you know, working a job, any job, doing anything is freaking, it's an honor. You know, it's fucking, it's an honor for me to meet anybody doing it. You know, granted, if somebody fucking spits in my burger, you know, they're a douchebag, you know, and they're not an honorable person. But anybody fucking, you know, striving to work hard, you know, bringing their best to whatever they do, that's fucking, it's an honor for me to meet a person like that. And so I will not, I refuse to look down on somebody like that, you know. I don't care if they make a mistake, you know, as long as they do their best to rectify it and they man up and, you know, accept it. If they try and blame me for it for whatever reason, you know, or try and lie to me, you know, then that's a whole nother ball game. But if they just fucking, you know, we were cooking your burger and the bun fell on the floor. I'm sorry, I'll get you another bun. I'm not gonna fucking, you know, oh my god, what are you doing? I'm just gonna be like, oh, thank you. You know, like fucking, I understand that sometimes the bun falls on the floor. You know, I've dropped shit numerous times in my own fucking kitchen. And I'm not weaving in and out of tables, and I don't have people fucking, you know, trying to fucking signal me just so that they can get out of it. Or just so that they can get something, you know, a couple seconds quicker. So fucking, you know, I'm not gonna be heated at somebody when an accident happens. But then again, if they like fucking, you know, try and slip that bun back onto my plate after I see it hit the floor, they're fucking, you know, oh, you guys came in too late, you know, we fucked up because you ordered burgers at this time of night, you know, then I'm gonna be like, whoa now, you know, fucking the kitchen was open, you know, you should have said something first. And then, you know, I'll give them a little bit, you know, if they try and make it my fault, you know, I might say something a little bit back. I won't, you know, call them stupid or anything like that. I'll just like, you know, you could have told us and then, you know, I wouldn't have ordered it or something like that. You know, I'm not the type of person in any instance to just fucking dumbass or fucking stupid or, you know, it would take a lot to get me to call anybody stupid, retarded, or dumbass, you know, when an accident occurs. You know, if they could, you know, they drop my plate at the, you know, they spill a cup of water or something like that when they're pouring in the table, you know, that shit happens. You know, it's inconvenient, especially if I get, you know, excuse me, if I get wet or if my food takes, you know, they have to recook it or something, they have to cook another one, you know, that shit is inconvenient for me. But, you know, I'm not gonna fucking, oh, stupid, you know, fucking, I'm not that type of person, you know. Shit happens, dude. Fucking, I understand it, you know. I'm on the ground floor of where shit happens. You know. So fucking, I'm not going to get that heated. You know, granted, I might be way back more than fucking other people. You know, I think it's a lot because my job is very high strung. So, you know, fucking, I'm tense like fucking 12 hours a day. So when I get home, it's just like fucking, you know, I unwind like my fucking pants could be on fire, and I just like, yeah, I'll get around to it. I'll fucking deal with that shit later. It's because I fucking want to unwind and I want to relax. But yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty long and fuck. It's getting really long, and so I think you've gotten the point, dude. Just don't fucking, you know, don't think you're better than anybody else. Anybody that fucking, you know, brings their A game to whatever the fuck they do or whatever they're doing. You know, even if they're fucking collecting, you know, even if they're fucking, you know, collecting cans, you know. I remember just this past summer, I was walking down the street and I was on my way, and there was this homeless dude, you know, pushing this cart, and, you know, he had his shirt off, but for some reason this dude was in like the best shape that I've ever seen. Like fucking a homeless dude. This dude had straight 6-pack abs, just ripped arms, and this dude was just in fucking like great shape. And unfortunately he asked me for money and I didn't have anything and I wasn't able to give him anything. I wanted to just like, dude, where do you work out? But I was like, nah, I can't be saying that to some strange fucking man on the street. But that dude was fucking, so fucking maybe, you know, You know, maybe that dude fucking didn't have a home and he was sleeping, you know, in the street, but that dude was evidently doing fucking something right, because that dude was fucking, you know, ripped out of his mind. So maybe fucking, you know, maybe he doesn't work, but he, you know, works out, you know, for hours in a day just to keep himself in physical shape, or, you know, maybe he's constantly walking or, you know, doing odd jobs. So who knows? But that dude was so fucking. You look at a homeless dude and you're just like, look at that piece of shit. And then this dude, you don't know, but fucking that dude takes his shirt off, and that dude's got fucking like a fitness model's, you know, body, and you're just like fucking holy shit, dude. That dude's got fucking. That dude's got, you know, the determination. That dude's got the will. You know, he's got the strength. He's got the stamina. He's got all of that shit in order to get himself in that grid shape. And so you just look at him because he's homeless, and you're just like, look at this motherfucker. But it turns out he's got all those qualities that he probably has in more abundance than what you have. I mean, look at me. I've got my fucking, you know, Chinese takeout, and my fucking belly sags, you know, like that. I'm in the bathroom, fucking, you know, dropping deuces like it's a fucking second job. You know, I've got Hooters now. That's partially due to the fact of my medication, but my arms, I've got fucking kind of the jelly a little bit on the bottom, and so fucking, you know, that dude was fucking ripped. So who knows, you know. Fucking, you don't know who you're dealing with, and you don't know what people are capable of. In a good sense. I'm not trying to say fucking that I'm gonna get my ass beat or that I'm afraid that I'm gonna get my ass beat if I look down on somebody. I mean, that could be, you know, it could happen, obviously. A lot of people are high strung and you never know about it. But I mean, I'm not going to call somebody stupid or retarded anyway, so I'm not really worried about getting my ass kicked for any instance like that. But, you know, like I said, just look at people, being social with people, it's, to me, a lot of shit that other people think it's a right, it's a privilege to me, you know, like, I almost fucking died. So, well, I didn't, I wasn't on death's doorstep, but there were moments where I didn't think I was going to make it. So I'm thankful for the little things now. Like fucking, you go out to eat with, your family and your friends, and that's a big thing for me now, because I'm just, I'm happy that I can still walk around and go to a restaurant, and, that I don't have to be wheeled in and I'm not drooling over myself or some shit like that. Or I don't have to be fed through like a fucking little tube and I'm not, peeing into a little bag. I'm happy about that shit. I'm thankful for that shit. So, I'm just happy to be there. Granted, it's good if the food's good, but I mean, if the food takes a little longer, I'm not gonna freaking, lose my shit. I'm not gonna curse out the waiter if she doesn't, if she forgets to bring me, steak sauce on my first, asking. I'm not gonna get that angry. Granted, it'll be inconvenient, but fucking, what is inconvenience? Inconvenience just means that you have to wait a little bit longer, or you don't get exactly what you want. You just have to be flexible. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of gotten to know it. This is kind of like deep life, like 101, life lessons 101, rather than just being on topic about fucking, not thinking that you're better than other people, and, just do the work that we all have to do the work in order to work to the main goal. Don't think that you're better than anybody in any instance. Managers and supervisors, granted that they might not have the time to do the same work that the entry-level people do. Like, unfortunately, if I'm covering a shift, I can't ring at the front register the whole day. But that doesn't mean if I've got a little bit of extra time, I won't, cover a quick break for somebody, or I won't, cover the register while somebody runs to the bathroom. That kind of shit is just, it's just working to the goal. I mean, everybody's got to pee. Sometimes it's hot, you drink too much. You can't always schedule that shit for your breaks. I mean, look at me, dude. I fucking dealt with stomach problems fucking for years. Now I've got freaking now I take pills that make me go to the bathroom a lot more. And make me go pee a lot more, so I can't always fucking plan that shit out. So fucking, I have to run to the bathroom sporadically throughout the day. So I don't fault anybody for fucking having to run to the bathroom. I mean, granted, if you do it repeatedly, like, then I'm going to start to be like, hey, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like we've had, at work, they're what I refer to as bathroom regulars. You know, granted, if you're out walking down the street, you had too much coffee, all of a sudden you gotta go pee. It's just like, holy shit, I gotta go pee. I'm gonna go see if they have a bathroom. That's one thing. But then again, if I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom, I'll go into here fucking day after day repeatedly. Like freaking, then it just gets a little stupid because then I have to let you into the bathroom each time. So then like I'm ringing on a register or something, you pull me away to let you into the bathroom. That's all right. You got to go to the bathroom, but then you do it the day after, and then you do it the day after that, and then you do it the day after that, and it becomes like something you do all summer. And it's just like, what the fuck, dude? The bathroom's here for emergencies or shit like that. It's not here for you to freaking like make a pattern of it. I mean, and then again, it wouldn't be so bad if people were decent and they didn't they didn't crap on the seat or like throw their toilet paper on the floor. If they kept it well maintained and they cleaned up after themselves, it would be fucking a whole different ballgame. But no, there are people who just like pee on the floor, intentionally clog the toilet, throw toilet paper on the floor, kick over the trash can, throw their paper towels just on the floor as they're leaving, leave the water on, just stupid shit like that. And it's just like fucking they make me letting people into the bathroom a lot more of a fucking pain because I know that I'm probably gonna have to, if I let a lot of people into the bathroom, I know that I'm gonna have to fucking go in there and then fucking it's gonna be a mess. And then maybe I might have to fucking clean that shit up at the end of the night. So, but yeah, I mean, fucking, I don't fault people for an emergency bathroom break. I don't fault them for that. I fault people for taking advantage of it or fucking, just disregarding, the privilege of using a bathroom. Like I said, I've had stomach problems for a while and freaking, I've had legit nightmares about having to go number 2 and having nowhere to go. A lot of people think it's funny when adults have to wear Depends and adults crap their pants or something like that. But that shit becomes for me that shit became a reality. Shit, no pun intended. But you worry about that stuff, like, because there's nothing more humiliating than pooping your pants or shitting your pants, and it does happen, unfortunately. So I mean, towards the end of my father's life, he had to go to the adult diapers. That's not something that I'd share to the world, but I mean, I've only got a couple viewers for these videos, mainly myself. But I don't look down on people who require adult diapers. Obviously they don't enjoy using them. It's their body fucking quitting on them, and that shit is fucking, my body quit on me for a little while, and that shit is fucking eye-opening, and it's fucking hard as hell to take. But you've got to do what you got to do to keep your shit running and to fucking stay alive. So I don't giggle about people when they accidentally poop themselves or they pee themselves, because that shit is just fucking, that's their body struggling for whatever reason. Most of the time it's old, but in my case, I was just fucking sick. So, if I see somebody, if one of my friends is giggling about some dude who has cancer and who can't control his bladder, it's just gonna be like, dude, what the fuck are you laughing at? Like, that dude has cancer. I mean, granted, I don't think any of my friends are that fucking stupid. I mean, I hope none of them are. I mean, I think I've associated myself with a good group of people. But yeah, I mean, just, I don't know. Like I said, don't think you're better than anybody. Fucking do your part. I understand that a lot of what life gives you is a privilege. It's not fucking automatically a right just because you're alive. Granted, if anybody tries to fucking, stop you from going to a store, and you're just a normal person. I mean, if you're a convicted felon and you've stolen from the store before, they have a right to be like, nah, dude, you're not allowed in here. But if you're just like a normal, fucking dude or a normal woman, and you just try and go to a store and people are just like, no, then that's either that's probably, it could be racism, it could be fucking, you know, sexism, whatever it is. But you know, that's something you don't have to stand for. But you know, don't think that just because you're rolling into a store to buy stuff, you can, you know, spit on the floor, or spit out your gum, or eat half of a candy bar and then just throw it back on the shelf, because that shit is just, you know, shopping in stores is a privilege. So look at it, you know, thankfully. But I don't know. I think you get the gist of my conversation. But anyways, thanks for listening. You know, fucking, I'll see you tonight.